Hello viewers and friends, welcome to my channel BST African Electronic Surgery. Hopefully you have a nice weekend. Saturday 3 June 2023. So we have to fix something, guys. This is a TV board. This is coming from another electronic repair shop, like a local shop. People, they are fixing things, but I'm happy that people that are trying to get these things better, they know their limit, and they did what they did. The TV is not working, but there's a note here at the back: stuck on standby, not turning on, Ecco 32-inch motherboard. This motherboard is coming from a 32-inch Echo TV, which is stuck on standby. That is a very bad fault or a bad message to us. Stuck on standby is not turning on. Okay, let's see. We do have this AC cable coming from the AC adapter. Let's plug in this. Plugged. You can see the red light here. Our board is now on our board, or our TV is now on standby. Let's try to power on this TV on. The first switch is for the power button. When here the switch is clicking and nothing is our TV is just dead, it's just doing nothing. So how do we fix something like this? Let's check some things first. If we have standby light, I'll concentrate on the secondary. There's no need to check the primary stage of the switching power supply. So what we can check on the secondary, we can check for 5 volts. What do we have on this coil? Like 0. No, we have something. You can see 5.11. Our 5 volts is present. Here we have another small coil. And this coil is 1.15 volts. Probably is for the processor. Here we have the ME region BIOS chip. On the last pin of the BIOS we must have 3.3. And we have 3.29. You can see on the screen 3.29. What about 12 volts? Our 12 volts is present. We have 5 volts. We have 3.3. We have 1 volt. We have 12 volts. And our board is stuck on standby. What I would do, I'll stick the ground here on the USB ports here, and on the standby panel we must have 5 volts there. So I will check for 5 volts here. First pin, you can see on the screen 5.10 volts. The next step here, the first button is for the power on switch. Here we have input, menu, volume, lower volume, volume plus, minus channel, plus channel, and the power on button. There we must have voltage. You can see 3.29. So what I will do, I'll press the power on to see if that 3.29 is going to 0. Maybe we have a faulty switch, who knows. Pressing the power, 0, releasing 3.29. And our standby light is still there. One more time. 3.29, pressing the power, 0, releasing 3.29. So we have a situation here. So how do we treat something like this? Because trust me, this can be anything. If your TV is stuck on standby, the first thing is to check to see if the 5 volts power supply for the standby is on. In this case, is on and running. So we don't have a problem with the 5 volts power supply. So let's try to eliminate things. The second thing, we can have a dead processor, the controller of the power supply. This one can be possible to be dead, but in most cases, when this chip or this processor is dead, on the last pin of the ME region BIOS chip, they will be short to ground. That's very important to must. So in this case, we have 3.3. I'm sure if we check on the beeping mode, the last pin is not shorted to ground. Let's unplug the power. Our multimeter on diode mode. Let's check pin number 4 is ground, pin number 4 ground, and pin number 8 is not ground, you see. So don't get confused at this stage. The switch button is okay. Here we don't have a shorted 3.3 volts power line. So yeah, the processor can be dead, but I just want to go on a different direction today, because before we conclude that this chip is dead, what we can try? What we can try at this point? Let's try, what about the software? Do these Chinese TVs have a software problem? So what I want to do, I will check for this BIOS chip, ME region. We need to look for a dump file and try to program this chip again. Maybe we have a corrupt firmware, and when you press the power on button, the processor is not responding. So if we reprogram the chip and it's not working, we can conclude that 100% this chip is dead. Okay, so what kind of memory do we have here? What kind of memory do we have? 1 second. 1 second. Okay, SST memory. So we need something here. I'm using this EZP 2019 Plus, that's the programmer. Let's try to connect to the programmer. Programmer connected. The next step, let's take out this BIOS memory chip, whatever I call it. That's our memory is out. The next step, we need to be assured to have assurance what kind of memory is this. Is this with WinBond, whatever? SST memory. Okay. The next thing is to plug in, to put it on position. You know, those connectors for the BIOS is very easy. Pin number 1 should be here. So just press this and put your memory like this. It's very easy, and then you release. After that, we'll put it on the programmer. Let's try to do some software, because everything is software these days. Let's go on desktop. Let's see now. Desktop, and let's look for the application for our programmer, which is the EZP 2019. Open. We need to test chip detected, which is a very good sign. Let's find the chip. SST 25V, SST 25VF040. That's the one. So we need to read the chip. You can see some data. These are some binary data on the chip. All this binary data. So the chip has got something. So we don't want to erase this before we can save. We need to save it somewhere. Let's save the file. Let's say Ecco 32-inch BIOS. Ecco 32-inch BIOS. Let's save. Now let's erase the BIOS ME region files. Erase complete. Let's read again to make sure that the chip has got erased. You can see the chip is empty, so just complete erasing the chip. Let's write the chip. No, before writing, we need to load the buffer. Hopefully I will find one. I do have some dump files for TVs and laptops. If you need these files, please just feel free to email me or WhatsApp me, so that I'll send you a link where you can get these dump files. Let me check for board number. 323DN, that's the one. SN. Okay. I still remember doing this some time ago, so I'm 100% sure. So now the next step is to open. Let's load the file. That's the one. Let's write the file. Now it's writing. We need to wait. It's writing. It's writing the chip. Writing complete. And let's unplug here. Let's close the program. Let's plug it back. Let's open the program EZP 2019 Plus. Let's read the chip and see if our chip has been successfully written. You see, we are good. So let's go back. So we just finish programming our BIOS chip. That's the BIOS chip for the ME region, for the processor. You know, there are so many types of BIOS chip. We have BIOS for especially on laptop motherboards. I found BIOS for the PCH and the other BIOS for the EC chip. So don't get confused there. This BIOS chip, they look alike, but they have different firmware. So if you load the BIOS chip for the PCH and you put a firmware for the EC chip, definitely it won't work. So now what is left? Let's check out the BIOS. That's our BIOS. And now we need to put back the BIOS chip. Let's resolder back the BIOS chip. Hopefully this will work. I'm not sure whether this is gonna work or not. But if you are in this business, you have to try whatever you can try just to bring the device to life. That's too hot. What I want to do more, I want to ensure that these pins, they are soldered properly. That's very important, to solder all these pins properly. So we'll go pin by pin. So that's my style. If I'm to give up on fixing something, I have to make sure that I tried all the options. I have to make sure that I tried all the options before condemning something. That's why I am against those people or those technicians who rush to conclude that your device is no longer fixable. It doesn't go that way. It doesn't go that way. So now is the time for testing to see if this board, if we have any change or we still have same problem. It's too warm. It's too warm. But I think we can test. I plug in. Plug in. That's good to see that we still have standby light. You see the standby light? This light. Let's try to power on this board on. And it's working. I can't believe. Check. You now have a green light. And it's working. That's something else. So we have learned something very important today. Let me check out some voltages for the backlights, for everything, just to have an assurance that this board is fixed. Let's check all those things. 5 volts, diode, E volts, 5 volts on, 12 volts on. What about the backlight? 26 volts, you can see on the screen. This is regulator, 3.3 and 5 volts. So that the input of the regulator, which is outputting 3.3 to the ME region BIOS file, the ME region BIOS chip. So you see, I don't even know how to explain this, but I'm happy if you tried something and it's working. So power off. You can see it's now red on. It's now blue. So it's changing from red for the standby to blue. You can switch. It's now off. At this juncture, your TV will be off. Now your TV is on. So I'm 100% sure this board is fixed. So what have we learned? We learned that if you have a red standby light and if your TV is stuck on standby, I'm sure 99% of the technicians who are fixing TVs will say the processor, this chip is dead. Yeah, the chip is getting warm. That means the TV is working fine. At first it was cold, now it's getting warm, which means it's on. So, like I said, this can be tricky, and trust me, 90% or 99% of the technicians will throw this board away as not repairable. Why? Because they run to conclude that the processor or the controller, this one, is dead. In most cases, if this chip is dead, on this ME region BIOS chip, on the VCC pin you have short ground. So you have to try this before you throw away this board. Or what you need a very cheap BIOS programmer, EZP 2019 BIOS programmer, and you need the right firmware. You know, firmware, I've got so many links for the firmware. I have another guy in South Africa who is sending me some firmwares for different BIOS chips of different motherboards. Also, I am on global Discord server for electronic repair school. There on Discord there are more than 15,000 members, and they are posting BIOS firmwares for different motherboards. That's where you can also get help from there. So if you have this programmer, that can be useful to do that step first before you condemn this motherboard, because I'm 100% sure if your TV, you check everything, all the voltages, they are okay, you press the power button, it's not working, the next thing will say this chip is dead. But it's not always the case. Usually what I'm doing, I'm trying to look for the firmware. I program the chip. After I program and it's still not working, I can conclude that this chip, the controller is dead, or the processor is dead. So I'll stop this video now. Hopefully you have learned something today. Like, subscribe, don't forget to turn on the notification bell, and also share our videos to friends, beloved ones. And I'll try to do as many videos as I can, because yeah, we are on the journey, and we are on the learning process. I'm also learning, you are also learning. So probably someday we'll get there. See you on the next one. Bye.